For centuries, we've kind of talked about the soul and the brain like they're two totally separate things. But what if they're not? What if ancient spiritual wisdom and modern science are really just two different languages trying to describe the very same incredibly powerful operating system? Well, today we're going to decode that user manual for your brain, right where these two amazing worlds collide.
So, let's just start with this kind of wild idea. What if the world's most profound spiritual texts weren't just about faith? What if, hidden inside them, was a scientifically accurate, honest-to-goodness user manual for the most complex object in the known universe, the one right between your ears?
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to step into two different worlds, right? On one hand, you've got the world of science, microscopes, fMRI scans, the hard data. And on the other, you have the world of the soul, introspection, ancient wisdom. So let's see what happens when we smash them together.
So here are our two lenses for looking at reality. On one side, we've got modern neuroscience, all about the physical wiring of our brain. And on the other, you have something called ilm al-nafs. Now that's the ancient Islamic science of the soul, which is, for all intents and purposes, its own incredibly sophisticated form of psychology. And what's wild is how often these two, which seem worlds apart, end up describing the exact same thing.
Okay, so how does any of this actually apply to our day-to-day lives? Well, it all starts with getting a handle on our inner world. That constant chatter of thoughts, feelings, and urges that can sometimes feel like it's running the show, not you.
And this right here, this is a huge idea in modern mindfulness and therapy. It's this powerful realization that there is a space between you, your real core self, and all those chaotic thoughts just rushing through your head. Think of it like this. You are not the traffic. You're the one standing on the sidewalk, just watching it go by.
And now check out this incredible parallel. In Islamic tradition, this very same idea has a name, Waswasa. It perfectly describes those intrusive whispers, those random thoughts and urges that pop into your head but aren't really you. The second you can label a thought as Waswasa, you're doing something amazing. You're actually activating your brain's CEO, the prefrontal cortex, which lets you step back, observe it, and filter it, instead of just being swept away.
Okay, so that leads to a massive question, right? If we can create that little bit of space between us and our thoughts, does that mean we can do more than just watch them? Could we actually become the programmers of our own minds?
Well, modern science has a clear, definitive answer. Absolutely yes. And it's all thanks to a concept called neuroplasticity. This is the groundbreaking discovery that your brain isn't some fixed piece of hardware. It's more like software that can be updated. It literally rewires itself based on your experiences, what you focus on, what you believe. And the biggest takeaway from this is huge. You are not stuck.
And this is where things get truly mind-blowing. The ancient spiritual practice of Tauba, or sincere repentance, is a perfect, step-by-step blueprint for neuroplasticity in action. It's not just some abstract spiritual concept. It's a neurological event. You're consciously stopping an old, negative brain pathway in its tracks and deliberately starting to carve out a new, more positive one. You are literally, physically changing your mind.
But, okay, this ability to rewire our own minds, it doesn't just affect us personally. It totally changes how we connect with other people. Because it turns out our brains aren't just wired for our own survival, they are fundamentally wired for connection and empathy.
You can almost think of our brains as having two basic operating modes. There's animal mode, which is run by the amygdala. That's all about fear, survival, fight, or flight. But then when we choose to act with kindness and compassion, what Islamic tradition calls raham, we literally quiet down that fear center. We shift gears into what you could call divine mode, which is driven by our higher thinking brain, our PFC, allowing empathy and real connection to take over.
And this explains so much about why spiritual practices can feel so deeply calming. A quote like this, it isn't just beautiful poetry, it's actually describing a biological reality. When we focus on and connect with something bigger than ourselves, our nervous systems literally shift down into a state of peace and rest. It's physiology.
Okay, let's talk about one of the most powerful brain hacks available to every single one of us, gratitude, or as it's known, Shukr. Get this, science now shows that the simple act of feeling grateful literally changes the rhythm of your heart. Your brain then syncs up with that calm, coherent heart rhythm, which in turn supercharges your prefrontal cortex. And what's the result? You get more clarity, you make better decisions, and you develop a genuine feeling of abundance.
All right, this brings us to a really crucial point. As humans, we're kind of unique. We're not just designed to survive. We seem to be hardwired to search for meaning, to strive for a higher purpose.
Look, suffering is universal. Every single one of us goes through it. But both modern psychology and ancient wisdom agree on something absolutely profound. The hardship itself isn't what defines you. What truly defines you is the story you choose to tell yourself about it.
And that right there, that is the absolute essence of Sabr. Now, this isn't just about passively waiting for things to get better. No, it's an active, conscious choice to frame your struggle with the belief that there's a higher good in it, to find the lesson in the loss. It's the act of telling your brain an empowering story, which is the exact trait neuroscience now identifies as the cornerstone of resilience.
And how is all this even possible? Well, it comes back to our human superpower, that amazing prefrontal cortex. It's what gives us imagination. It's what lets us set a clear intention, a niyat, and then align our actions with a higher purpose. In Islamic tradition, this capacity is why humans are called Ashraf-ul-Makhluqat, the noblest of all creation. We have this incredible, unique ability to use our thoughts and intentions to literally rewire our own biology.
So, as we start to bring this all together, what we're seeing isn't a conflict between faith and science, not at all. It's a stunning convergence. We're looking at a truly ancient path to mental and spiritual wellness that is being proven step by step in neuroscience labs all over the world, every single day. So let's just do a lightning round recap, okay? Tauba is the tool for rewiring negativity. Shukr is how you supercharge your brain's performance. Sabr is the practice for building unbreakable resilience. And Taqwa, or God consciousness, is the ongoing mindfulness that makes all that positive change actually stick.
You know, in the end, the language might be different, but the destination is pretty much the same. Modern wellness might tell you to stay fabulous. Ancient wisdom might say stay mutaki, stay conscious and mindful. But it turns out both of those paths lead you through the exact same place, a stronger, more focused mind and a truly grateful heart.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. Is it possible that all the incredible things we're discovering about the brain in the 21st century aren't really new discoveries at all? But maybe, just maybe, a rediscovery of the most effective user manual we've had all along?